Let's turn to Barry Donadio, who's a former US Secret Service officer, joining me from Washington, D.C. Appreciate your time this morning. Barry, you've been closer to these matters than I ever have, and you've been a braver man than I ever will be. How do you call it? Morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me. Obviously, a horrible situation that has been introduced to an already politically charged situation over there. Look, bottom line, removing the politics from this whole thing, if any of your viewers, including yourself or me, is confronted with a police officer with his gun drawn, pointing it at me, and I'm in my car, I'm not going to drive towards that officer. That's just the bottom line. I don't think you're going to do it. I called my mother. She's not going to do it. She said she wouldn't do it either. So if we slow down this video and we watch it, and believe me, it took me about 20 times of watching this video to see really what happened and slowing it down, okay? She tried to ram a police officer. At the end of the day, none of your viewers would do that. I wouldn't do it. You wouldn't do it. So remove the politics, see what the physical evidence is, and that's unfortunately what happened. Now, that's not what any of us wanted to happen. Certainly not that officer. He didn't wake up that day and say, hey, you know, I want to shoot some woman today. I highly doubt that's what he wanted, but look at the situation. You have to also put the blame where it belongs.
Here's the thing, Barry, and I appreciate you worked at the very pinnacle. You looked after former presidents George W. Bush, Barack Obama, so you know you've been there. You've been in the trenches, as it were. But are you honestly telling me, Barry, you think that officer's life was at risk?
Absolutely, because they're not shooting at her when she's going in reverse. I just tell your audience, slow it down, watch the video many times. It's going to take a lot of times to watch it. She's going in reverse. Why aren't those officers shooting her then? Because she's not trying to run somebody over at that point. She initially goes in reverse and then takes the time to switch into drive, go forward with a police officer in front of her car.
I hear you, Barry, but she could be spooked, of course, sir. She could be just acting utterly irrationally because she's spooked, right?
She may very well be, but that relies on only one person. And whose fault would that be? Her. She placed herself in that situation, and she's the one that moved the steering column to go into drive, and she's the one that pressed the gas, not the police officer. And if we set the standard of, hey, you know what, it's okay on certain times to ram a police officer, but not this time.
Okay.
You know, it just doesn't make sense. So if we follow the law, nobody's going to ram a police officer, especially when has his gun out, pointing at you, and he's telling you to stop or don't move.
I hear you. Lastly, a quick word on I'd be grateful if you didn't use any of the language, the reaction from the local mayor. How do you react to his reaction and his view of what's happening within Minneapolis and the ICE agents?
I say he's an excellent politician and a craftsman, but he has no clue what he's talking about. I don't see any credentials as far as he's gone to any police academy. I don't think he's ever worn a badge and a gun or placed in a situation whatsoever in his entire life like that. Look at his history. He's been anti-police for a very, very long time. He's never supported the police. So this is, you know, somebody that is trying to spin a political agenda, but when you get down to the nitty-gritty of what the law is, and if you place yourself in the position, if your viewers, your listeners, place themselves in the position of that police officer, and you have somebody trying to ram you and kill you, it's not just hit you with a car, it is kill, murder a police officer.
Grateful for your time, Barry. I will leave it there. Look after yourself. Thank you. Barry Donadio, former US Secret Service officer, joining us from Washington. He was on the detail to look after former presidents George W. Bush and Barack Obama.